Good evening, Vigo's Court. Welcome you guys to the beginning of week 4 on the road to the final judgment. I am your judge today, Judge Shep, joined by Counselor Q. I couldn't think of the word counselor. I'm so sorry.
I was like,
Counselor Q.
what it do? What it do? I'm excited. We're finally getting to start week 4. We are officially a quarter of the way through our season here. We had a little bit of a break. We're back with, this season, and we're a quarter of the way through it already. It's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, it's really wild to think that we are already a quarter through. I feel like we just started, which I guess I mean, it's been like what, a month and a half because we had the preseason as well, and that's
Mm-hmm.
if we don't include our qualifiers.
Right.
So we've been at this for quite a while now, and we are now finally a quarter of the way through our regular season, and things are really starting to heat up.
Yeah, things are getting interesting because we still have quite a few undefeated teams, which I feel like is really going to it's very quickly narrowing the margin for error, right? Like the longer that we have more teams standing as undefeated, though we will have a couple of them start to match up against each other, I think next week or the week after. I know it's in the next couple of weeks here. But the longer that we have more undefeated teams, we're probably looking at teams getting into the playoffs with like 2-3 losses.
Yeah, and I believe we have what, like 6 undefeated teams currently that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, one of those is still needing to make up one game, which I think they will be doing this week, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we have 6. That's crazy to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, like we're already a quarter of the way through, and we still have 6 teams who have not seen a defeat yet.
Well, and what's even, I think, more insane is thinking that some of the teams that are undefeated, I mean, we're talking a couple of their games have been rather close. So I think it does show some parity to the league. While also, obviously, also by having 6 teams undefeated, so it means 6 teams that have that good of a control. And I don't know, things are gonna get spicy for sure.
Absolutely, and not to mention the teams that are like not undefeated teams. Even throughout the past 4 weeks, we've seen leaps and bounds in improvement from
True.
literally almost every single team that has come to play. So just because right now we have 6 undefeated teams,
Hmm.
there's still every possibility that one of those teams doesn't make it because one of our other teams still has a chance at this point to make up those losses.
Yeah, now I think is where things start to get a little bit more interesting, right? Because we're a quarter of the way through the season officially. Now, since the games do start meaning a little bit more, I think you might start seeing some S tier killers coming out on a little bit more occasion, right?
Hmm.
Um, especially because I think some teams are going to try and do the best that they can to spread the value out of their S tier killers. If they can get 8 weeks worth of S tier killer, not 8 weeks, but what, 6 weeks fully of S tier killers because you're using one a week, right? Then you use like maybe one A tier. Like you're setting yourself up to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how our teams proceed from this point forward, knowing that not everyone has used their S tiers, and these games upcoming are going to be really important in deciding who goes to the finals.
And things get interesting, right? Especially when we talk about today's matchup, because we're talking about, I feel like we've been saying this a lot lately, but we're talking about a map that's not very typical for comp, right?
Mm-hmm. We are today going to be going to Family Residence, one of the Yamaoka Estate maps. It is a larger map with an 8 hook minimum and a 12 hook maximum. It is a sample text home, so sample text has the home field advantage today. But you're right, this is not a map that you commonly see in comp.
So on a map like this, and again, knowing that it's bigger, I feel like if we're going to see S tiers come out, maybe a blight. Although if there are some of the smaller loops that you work around, since they're the rocks, sometimes collision can be an issue. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Billy, especially after seeing some exciting Billy play last week. Wouldn't mind seeing some other Billies in the league try and say, "Hey, anything you can do, I can do better to Gramps, right? So maybe we see a
Absolutely.
Billy come out today. That could be fun.
Yeah, I think the high mobility killers are going to be really important on this map. Definitely Billy. I would love to see more Billy. I think Billy is underappreciated in comp. But it is because he is a more difficult killer to have like success with, I feel like. I think this could be a good map for like, I mean, Spirit would have the home field advantage, obviously,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So, other high mobility killers that I would like to see on this map. I've actually seen Huntresses on this map do okay. Like, not quite because of, they don't quite have the mobility, but the range from the hatchets I've seen used in the hands of a good Huntress. I mean, that's all you need.
Yeah, especially because this map is kind of known for, especially in the middle, having a lot of unsafe pallets to work around, especially when we're talking about a killer that can kind of hold a hatchet working around those areas, right? Especially around the rocks and stuff. So could be a good Huntress map. Again, I worry. I feel like probably Huntress is one of those killers like the S tiers that teams are going to try and make sure they're getting full potential out of, which makes me wonder about when we talk about a map like Family Residence, right? Being a bigger map, is that one where maybe we see them here? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, definitely gonna be interesting to see how the teams come at this map. However, I'm sure people are wondering why we're on Family Residence, and it is because the McMillan Estate maps have been bugged like this entire time. But we are going to start seeing those maps come back into rotation, I believe, next week. So I wonder if that will also change the game plan that are knowing that our maps are going to be changing. I wonder if that's going to change the game plan here.
I mean, possibly. I mean, when McMillan does come back up, things can get oh, things are gonna get a little spicy because I feel like McMillan maps typically give a lot of comfortability, especially for our competitive players. You know, things like Iron, not even. Well, I mean, Ironworks is even decent, but Groaning Storehouse, Cold Tower, Suffocation Pit, maps that we're kind of used to seeing consistently in comp. We also know that many teams practice many killers on those maps too, versus like a Family Residence is something that probably doesn't get scrimmed on as much, right?
Yeah, I don't think very many people enjoy coming to Family Residence in terms of comp play because it's a weird map. It's a really weird map.
And it does seem that they think. I know we're still doing some stress testing on the McMillan Estate maps because it had the desync issue. For people who maybe didn't know why we weren't seeing those initially, right? Um,
Hmm.
you know, I think even if I remember right, I believe we saw one of the desync issues in. I want to say it was a preseason game. It was like before it became a really like well-known issue, and we were checking on some things in the background. Just ended up being the desync bug itself.
Hmm. Yeah, so I'm wondering, I don't know, maybe we don't go back to those maps, but I'm really hoping we do because I know those maps are a little more like friendly for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the McMillan maps, I think, offer a lot of at least symmetry. Also, you know, McMillan also offers a map that allows a lot of M1 killers to shine, such as Sheltered Woods. You know, Sheltered Woods is a map that we've seen when competitive organizations do, let's say, like balancing for a particular killer. They'll put, like, say, a Oni or a Billy on that map because there's limited resources. It kind of aids the killers who sometimes struggle in the early game, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and I actually can confirm we are going to be going back next week. Little birdie in my ear confirmed that for me. So definitely going to have to change up some strategies that teams have been going into our first 4 weeks with. But it does look like everybody is ready. So I think we
Cool.
can get the answer to our question of who's going to be brought out on this map for our first game of the day. And it is going to be we overslept killing first with the sample text surviving.
I'm excited. I'm excited because, again, knowing that McMillan is coming back, this is probably gonna be our last time on Family Residence here. So maybe we can have some memorable moments here. But let's check here real quick. I believe we are missing a. offering area. Is that what that looks like?
That is indeed. I didn't see it at the bottom,
Yeah, it looked like it was a
like we
different
usually
offering. Like
do.
it was maybe one of the shroud offerings or something.
I am checking right now. Unfortunate way to start the game, though, if that was a
Yeah,
missed
yeah,
offering there.
yeah. You talk about starting in the hole a little bit on the survivor side, right? And the survivor side is typically, where you would like to maybe try and steal a little bit of the momentum, being the home team, knowing you're going to be going into back-to-back killer sides, or back-to-back killer sides, back-to-back killer trials in trials 2 and 3. Um, but we'll double check here as far as once we get in, because if that's the case, we will just need them to back out and get a restart. Blade Blueprint 1, 2. That's weird. Okay, so it was all 4 of them.
All right, so it looks like it was just a game error there. Let's load into this game, though. I'm excited to see this matchup.
Yeah, and you brought up the chances of this killer being an option here, and we're gonna see the Huntress come out. I like this pick here.
I also like this pick, and knowing Maelstrom, we've seen Huntress from Maelstrom before. So I'm excited to see what he does on this map.
Yeah, Maelstrom has definitely had some very strong performances in the past on killer side on multiple killers, but we have seen Maelstrom in the past also on, I don't know if it was just the Huntress in preseason or if maybe also in the season, but definitely a force to be reckoned with. One thing that is worth mentioning as we do force a survivor off the gen here, we're going to see those sparks coming off of that gen. That's going to be from that ruin in play here currently. That's going to help a little bit as far as in the early name here. Early part of the game here. Which is going to be a nice back to
And
back.
those spicy hatchets taking our first survivor down.
Unfortunately, I am not going to be able to change the settings. I just realized that I have the names covered. That's my fault, chat. I don't think I can go to settings though without backing all the way out. So I'll make sure we set that up between trials. But we are going to see here that corrupt intervention is interesting, right? It's like don't want to say a split corrupt because it is definitely taking like care of one corner, but is a very strange corrupt from what we're used to seeing on this map, right?
Absolutely. I feel like you always get really weird corrupt spawns on family residence. Oh, that was uncomfortably close for our Kate there.
Yeah, Kate was able to make it over. I think they're able to get, I was going to say, go around the outside there, and they're actually going to just hold W into the middle of the map. We do also see a Fang, though, now working along the backside of the main building here. Should just be trying to maintain a little bit of aggro while Kate is able to retreat and get a recovery and get a reset there. Our team does now know that they have a ruin to focus on. I'm sure Kate did call out the location of the one that we had noticed while running around the shack there. There's another nice hatchet delivered by Maelstrom there onto the Fang. Oh, I thought that was going to catch a Fang there. You are going to notice, though, now at this point, out of hatchet, so we are going to break chase here. There's also worth mentioning, you're going to see when we look around, no more corrupt intervention. The corrupt is now off of those gens, so all the gens can be worked on. However, we still have ruin in play protecting these gens, and we have not had a generator pop.
Yeah, it's going to look real hairy for our survivors here if these gens don't start popping sometime soon.
Yeah, and we are going to take a trip down to the back side of the main building. We are able to find the Megan here. Oh, nice little mind game. I like the idea of going for the hatchet here. Oh, that's going to be a big miss. Would have rather have gone for the M1. That would have been a secure hit. We are going to definitely secure the M1 hit there, though, at this point. However, I was going to say, did she make distance there? No, she is not going to be able to make distance. This is going to be big if she actually goes down here by the main side of the building, because we do see quite a bit of gens around here. And we also know it's the location of the one totem, and that's going to be big. I think, do we have a basement back here as well? I think we saw.
We should not have basement back here because of those bloody blueprint offerings. So basement is going to be in shack, but this is still a pretty key location to have a hook. Because generally on this map, you do get a pretty nasty 3-gen up here if you aren't careful.
Yeah, and actually, I'm looking around here. Let's take a look over here to. I know I forgot the names, chat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But we actually see it's a 4-gen over here on this side of the map right here. So we are gonna see the ruin now here broken there, or that's actually going to be the undying that is now going to be broken there. Ruin still being in play, protecting the gens. And yeah, take a look at 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2. Yeah, 4 gens basically surrounding the main building here. This is a really nice setup for Maelstrom.
Absolutely. Maelstrom can kind of just sit comfy here because I believe that is also his ruin totem right there.
Yeah, you got the, and I don't think the survivors have seen it yet there because it is in that nice little cheeky spot there inside of the bamboo, right? But yeah, at this point, now you got this whole half of the map. You are just going to secure yourself a second hook stage here. I believe that's a very smart decision. Unfortunately, oh, imagine that actually connected with Claudette there. That would have been insane.
Oh, that would have been nasty.
Now the second, the forced progression here is worth mentioning because it is going to be another state, obviously. But oh, that's going to be costly. Camping out the pallet. Now you are going to be able to apply the stun, but you did take a health state change, and now you have also surrendered a very, very valuable resource as well.
Absolutely. Resource management on this map is going to be important, especially as the survivors are going to be forced in this upper half of the map.
Now we are working along this jungle gym side. Keep in mind, we've already lost this pallet. That's going to be a down onto the Fang here. We do notice that right now, this is the gen that does have the most progress, or at least we can probably assume that. We haven't really heard the middle gen. We can probably assume, though, that probably means it hasn't been worked on, right? And that's going to be hook number 2 on the Fang, really making sure our scorekeeper is on top of their game here in game number 1 without the names there. I do apologize one more time. But now we're going to be coming over here to this side. We're going to go ahead and get a very quick reload onto our hatchets. I think we're also hopefully maybe hoping for a grab there, a little cheeky little extra health or extra hook state. But we are going to come across here. We do have 2 survivors. We've got the Kate as well as our Fang sitting along the back. Keep in mind, Fang is on death hook. We're going to be counting down that BT here. Ooh, and that is now going to be the ruin getting broken. That's a really good job as far as our survivors here. That is going to be a down on the Fang. Fang is down inside the pallet space, but we do have a Kate around here. Kate does need to be careful because the last thing you want to do is have 2 down survivors. Oh, all the way down here. But you are going to see Megan came in, tried to get the pallet save, was really close. Although Maelstrom doing a very good job in swinging out of the pallet space.
Maelstrom definitely being very aware of what's going on around him. And now we've got our survivors in a situation where it's 3 survivors left and a pretty nasty 4-gen up top.
Yeah, the 4-gen definitely being intact, still really working in Maelstrom's advantage, especially because you'll see when we come here into the middle portion, the middle gen has has no progress whatsoever. So we can, at least for now, assume the gen that we just passed probably has the most, even Maelstrom's and confused. Like, are we sure there's no progress on this gen? Now they're going to be throwing a hatchet at Kate as we take chase. If I'm Maelstrom here, though, I go check that far other gen because that has to be the only gen that we haven't been able to check in a while. Wouldn't be surprised if both the Megan and the Claudette were over there right now trying to attack it. That way you can at least get your 4th gen done because we see some scratch marks coming away from here, but barely any progress on this gen, and Maelstrom still has not checked the farthest gen.
I think if I'm Maelstrom here, though, I'm not very concerned with that far gen because even if that gets completed, you still have a pretty nasty 3-gen over on this side.
Oh, 100%. I guess my only concern was if you can push that person off there and delay that first gen getting done, I think it was for the better. But now here, I was going to say, Maelstrom's actually getting taken away from the 3-gen. Well, what's now a 3-gen? Oh, my goodness. Just seriously, though, look at this 3-gen. That thing's absolutely disgusting.
And yeah, as we said, despite them being able to pop that generator on the far side there, Maelstrom probably isn't concerned about it because this is a pretty nasty 3-gen. While one of the generators is within the family residence, these other 2 are really close together, so he can kind of just keep an eye walking back and forth on those stairs there.
Yeah, the one thing that is working to your advantage right now for sample text is the fact that you do have like 3/4 of the map that can basically be used as a place to retreat back to and reset once you do get injured survivors. But right now, you just kind of play this immersive game we're seeing, right? You just kind of tap the generators here and there, add a little progress here and there. And the longer this game goes, where Maelstrom isn't getting any additional hook states, you do definitely feel like that pressure starts to build up a little bit. We do see one missed hatchet here from Maelstrom. Now we're going to see a second missed hatchet here from Maelstrom. Now Maelstrom is going to be going into the portion of the map where we don't have any generators left. Now only down to just, plus 10 wood to the face, but not without hitting the Claudette here. And this is what we were talking about, right? Maelstrom's going to be stuck with a very, very unfortunate decision to make, which is, do I just continue chase or do I put pressure on my 3-gen?
Yeah, and if I'm Maelstrom here, I think going back to check on these generators is probably the smart move, because if Claudette wants to come back into that area, she's gonna have to either go injured or someone's gonna have to reset her. So I think a little calculated on his part. It's like, well, if you're going to try to force me out of my 3-gen, I'm going to force you to not be able to work on the generators.
Now we do see here taking the chase around the middle portion. This is where we were kind of talking about coming into this trial. Actually about the potential of this particular killer coming out. The Huntress kind of working around these little weaker tiles. Again, though, we are in a sticky situation, knowing that we are down to the last gen. We do hear somebody was in here at some point working on that generator. Has been able to put a little bit more progress onto it as well. Not really any, a little bit progress on there. Maybe just being very patient, though. Wouldn't be surprised to see Claudette and Kate now taking time to break away and go ahead and get a reset. We see the reset coming in across, at least onto the Kate. Wouldn't be a surprise seeing coming on to Claudette here shortly.
Absolutely, that would be the smartest position for our survivors right now. It's just going to come down to a game of patience. We do see Claudette does get reset here. So now all of our survivors are healthy and once again can start attacking these generators.
Yeah, now it's gonna be where like this little the next little couple, like what, 2-3 minutes is kind of critical, because if you can keep doing what you're doing, at least here recently as from sample text, remember none of those gens had progress. Now you've got at least 2 that have got the second piston starting to move a little bit, and you haven't acquired another hook state. So if you just keep playing safe, waste time where you can, do what you're seeing from Claudette, which is basically shift W the second that you hear the Huntress's lullaby come in, then at that point now you have survivors over across the way working on those maps. There's going to be a swing and miss. That's going to be a rock. That's not going to actually be a Claudette. There's going to be a pallet thrown here as well, and would not be surprised to see Claudette, yeah, basically continue to retreat back. Very interesting, because Maelstrom has played this very patient up until this point. I was going to say, I think this is the pressure speaking, knowing that you need to secure it down, and that's going to be generator number 5 coming in. You do have a door over your shoulder, but the other door not too far away. There's going to be the no way out getting proxed here as well. And now you do have Claudette working around a very, very strong loop. Breaking away, though, moving towards the other section here. This is going to be one of those awkward big jungles. However, going to be an M1 on the backside here.
Definitely smart of him to cut through that jungle gym to get the down on Claudette, because now we can hook her right by this door and pretty much just babysit this for a little while.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that is going to be a fresh hook on the Claudette there, which does mean if they don't get the save here, you do at least get the additional progressions, and you're limiting the points going out. I am trying to remember here. I think both the Megan and the Kate have both been hooked, right?
So the Megan has, I don't believe the Kate has been hooked yet.
Okay. Yeah, so we are going to see that the Megan is probably going to be on the door, would probably be the safe bet. And I don't even know if you risk the Kate, honestly, either, because obviously that's a whole bunch of hook states that you give up. I think you just take the 2 out here.
Yeah, definitely don't want to risk the fresh hook survivor here, because that will be less points that you get if you're not playing it carefully.
I'm wondering if maybe, did our Claudette get a save here earlier? I wonder if maybe we see Megan trying to, oh, well, Megan could also 1-for-1 this, because you would be saving 1 hook state as well, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Deliverance coming in
here, and there is the Deliverance.
That was my other question I was curious to see, was if there's maybe a potential Deliverance play, because Claudette had gotten the save earlier. We are now going to see the M1 applied, and imagine one shot in a dream.
Oof. No, not quite. However,
can you
that
imagine?
was really scary there for just a second. I know. If that had hit, that would have been nasty.
Yeah. Now at this point, though, we'll probably see Maelstrom, I'm sure, probably just wait this out, because we do typically see the deliver. Oh! Yo, my
Oh
goodness.
no!
Just oh,
Unfortunate.
oh, whoa.
Oh, and Maelstrom waiting out either the decisive strike or the unbreakable play here.
Like you probably weren't picking up there anyways, right? Because you don't want to take the risk of the D strike. But imagine had Claudette been right there when it opened and like
That
the
would have been an escape.
oh my goodness, that would have been heartbreaking actually. We are going to see the pickup here, and that's going to be a easy hookup here. That is going to now the one thing to keep in mind with the deliverance play, you try to take the attempt, but now in this case, you did give them full points worth on that second hook because it wasn't a progression, right?
Absolutely. So it might have been a misplay there because if Claudette had, if they'd been able to like play that out a little better, it might have been worth it. But instead, they just gave Maelstrom the full points for the second hook instead of giving him the points for just the progression itself.
Agreed. And since we didn't do it going into that trial, because we were checking because we thought we were going to have to replay it again, and I didn't want to have like a where we didn't play it. Now we're in this awkward position where we didn't go over it. Before we go back to the courtroom, let's talk about how Maelstrom was able to put points up on the board that first round, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about it. Just in case you guys are wondering, this is how our killer earned his points. The first and second hook are worth 2 points each. That third hook is worth 3 points. Progressions are worth 1 less point, however, so we did see that where Claudette would have given less points if she had just progressed to second state. The 7th and 8th progressions are worth 1 point each. However, a 4K will give you 2 additional points as well. So definitely worth it to try and get that 4K there. An entity kill is only going to be the corresponding hook states plus the progressions. So you don't get full points, you will just get plus progressions from there to the death hook. Bleed outs, however, are worth 0 points. So if Maelstrom had let that Claudette bleed out there, he would have gotten nothing for all of his efforts. There are 30 points available. For more on rules, check !rules in chat.
And don't
And
worry,
then,
chat. I fixed it. All right, I did it.
did we fix it?
You guys will have your player names next round. I do apologize. But definitely a good round coming out there for Maelstrom coming out and putting, what was that, a 3K with quite a significant, or sorry, a 2K with a significant hook count up. So
Yeah, not a bad way to start the game. That is going to put We Overslept in the lead by 6 points.
So 16-10. And that's interesting for We Overslept. The one thing that I think is worth pointing out, I should say, at least first. Wait a minute. You said 10 points for sample tech?
I believe so.
Because they got all the gens done, right?
Oh, you know what? I messed that up. That's my bad. 13 points for sample tech. So it's a 3-point lead.
Okay, that's why I was confused. I was like, wait.
No, thank you for correcting that. Sorry, I was dealing with some other things on the back end. My bad. Sorry, everybody. So that is 13-16 in We Overslept's favor, but it's only a 3-point difference. So not a lot of room for We Overslept to get comfortable here going into their Survivor games.
Yeah, the one thing though, as far as for sample text, is you did do a good job on the Survivor side of like minimizing like the point difference, right? As far as coming out when you're on the Survivor side, because now you're going to be going into the back-to-back killer trial.
Yeah. So this is a potential area. Killers can earn more points than the Survivor squads can. So this is a potential to make up those lost points and also put yourself in a really comfortable position going into the next couple games.
Now I saw G-Bot had joined there. No, that wouldn't be my killer I'm joining, right?
No, so you are going to be joining on Guiltspire, actually. Guiltspire is going to be killing for this next match here.
I see they say that they added me. Let me double check on Steam here. Because you know how Steam works sometimes. Like it'll have an invite, but you don't have an invite, but it's actually in Steam, but it's not in the game.
Yeah, I love, just PC things. Where is your
Oh,
friend invite? Who
there's
knows?
yeah,
Gotta go find it.
I was gonna say there's Kane sending me an invite there though.
Okay,
So
perfect.
now that you're talking about you're going into the back-to-back killer set, you're down 3 points. We had talked about you're already a quarter of the way through the season. This might be where you start seeing some S tier killers come out. Do you think being in a little bit of a deficit here forces an S tier out early? Or do you think you just kind of stick to the plan of whatever you plan on coming out with in Trial 2?
I think you're gonna have to kind of just like stick with maybe the plan coming into trial 2 because you don't want to burn an S tier killer if you don't have to. I know I can see my camera doing the thing. I don't know why. Sorry guys, just JP things. But
Yeah, but you were doing the cool little
I
poses
know
for it. It's
someone
really cute.
Arrow, shout out to Arrow. She requested that I vogue, so I vogued a little bit. But yeah, I think coming into trial 2, it might be a little too early to risk playing an S tier because it is only a 3-point deficit. I definitely think if we're going to see an S tier, it's going to be in our second matches for each team's killer. Because that's when you're going to really need to like bump up the points. Because again, we're at a position where you don't really want to use your S tiers if you don't have to. And you want to apply them strategically. So if you don't need to use them, like it's only a 3-point difference, which as we've seen before, much bigger deficits have been made up very easily. So I don't know if we're gonna see an S tier killer just yet, but I could be wrong. Who knows?
I do like the thought on this map of maybe even going with a
I'm trying to think of like who does really well on this map. Unfortunately, the problem with this map is it is such a large map, and a lot of our high mobility killers are S tier killers.
Yeah, but that's why I was wondering if maybe you can use the map's size to your advantage. What if you go with like a Cenobite here, especially because in mid-trial, maybe you can get lucky with some box spawns and the box be spawned like very far. Like say in that last trial, right? What if when you're playing the top side of the map 4-gen and then you start getting box spawns like back by Shack, right?
Yeah, I definitely think it is not a bad option to consider with Cenobite because he's come out a couple times before already in our season and he's not been bad. He's not been a bad choice.
Well, I mean,
So
we
I think
did see the
somebody who
devs
knows
say
what they're
he's been
doing.
overperforming, right?
Yeah, they did say that. They didn't really have very high hopes for Cenobite, but I mean, I think in the right hands, any killer really has a lot of potential, except for like the
True.
very obviously bad ones, Rip Ghostface. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really a possibility here. Especially with on big maps like this, what's important is information, and
Yeah.
with Pinhead, you can get a lot of information.
True. Yeah, and I would even say, and that's why I was wondering at first, but the RNG with the zombies worries me on a big map like this. But I was even thinking Nemesis for the same reason could be a interesting pick. But while we are kind of talking, I wanted to get your opinion on the artist.
Yes, Bird Lady.
Yeah. There's some crows in this house.
I'm gonna preface with there's some crows in this house. Oh no. I actually hate birds. So she's been very interesting to see because I'm like, this is all the things I am scared of in one killer, so I'm actually concerned about her. I think she has a lot of potential. Again, information is very important, and she comes with a kit that provides quite a bit of information. I have seen her played. Somebody the other night, we were playing pubs, and somebody brought out like the repel time add-on with the recharge cooldown add-on, like I think like her brown and like yellow add-ons.
It's pretty insane though. The timing change is crazy, even though it's my new both ways.
Yeah, even with those small changes, it was really hard to deal with. Like just having the repel like add-on, like the repel extension add-on, that shut down loops for me. Like I couldn't both repel, because if I stopped repelling, she could see where the crows were, so she could hit me with her ability. But if I like am repelling, I can't vault or do anything but repel and hold shift W. So I think she could be really strong. I think she's going to need some playing around with, but I think she could be a decent killer. Especially with the way her add-ons work right now.
Yeah, I think obviously we can probably anticipate at least one more change to her kit in some way, shape, or form at like a mid-chapter next update, right?
Mhm.
But I think because there seems to be such a widespread, what's the best way of putting it? Like, there are a lot of people who are convinced that she's not a very strong killer because I don't think they've figured out how to really play her to her strengths, which I
Yeah,
think is
but
going to cause a lot of feedback when you look at when you talk about statistics, that'll make people think that she's not as powerful as she is, if that makes sense.
that does make a lot of sense. But I think we also saw kind of the same issue with Pinhead. People weren't really using him like they didn't know the most optimal way to use Pinhead because there are a lot of ways that you can play him.
Mhm.
And I think now that we're kind of like people have had their hands on him for a little while now, we're kind of seeing like there are really strong ways to play Pinhead.
Right.
And he's starting to come out in spaces a little bit stronger than people once thought he could be before. So I think we're going to run into the same problem with the artist. And that's going to just inherently be with any new killer we see. Until people understand how to fully utilize the kits being provided to us, there's really no good way to judge how a killer is going to perform in any setting, really.
Except for Trickster. He's just bad.
Well, I don't know. I've seen some pretty cracked tricksters.
Yeah, but
But it
they're
does look like
probably like very cracked with every other killer on their sun too. So
that's very fair. That's very fair. But it does look like we are getting ready to rumble, so we can actually get the answer to our question pretty shortly here. I wish my camera would stop freezing on like the worst faces. Come on.
it's weird because it's like it was running fine even during like the intro and everything. It's only as soon as it popped up it knew to start giving us issues again.
I'm so sad. It's okay.
What we'll do this time here is even if it looks like the things are off, even though it looks like we have actually, yeah, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4 bloody blueprint. We've got a cut coin. We talked about how we overslept was able to put those killer points up on the board. Let's talk about how this time they're going to be putting those points up on the survivor side.
Absolutely. Let's talk about it, you guys. So how can our survivors make up or keep that lead? Let's talk about it. The first and second gen are going to be with 1 point each. The third and fourth gen are worth 2 points each. That fifth gen is worth 3 points. So a lot of points coming in from generators, obviously. But what's really going to be important are those escapes. And not just the first or second escape, which are worth 1 and 2 points each. But that third escape is worth 4 points. And that fourth escape is worth a whopping 6 points. So escapes are what is important here. Also, if you escape with 2 or more hook states remaining, so 1 hook state or no hook states, you get bonus points for that. It is 1 extra point for every survivor who escapes with those extra hook states remaining. There are 26 points available for our survivors to earn here. If you want more on those rules, check !rules in chat.
Indeed. No, I just need to do that because I saw Vader pull up in chat. What up, Vader? Hope you've been well,
Hey,
homie.
Vader!
We are looking at a little bit longer of a loading screen here. I hate when it does this because it's like the anticipate. It's like when you're, I don't know how many people like fly often, but it's like when you're on a flight that you're used to and it's like the last 20 minutes always seem to drag on. We do look like though we're ready to go here. So let's get down on into it. Ooh, excited to see here something interesting coming out. We are going to see Bubba Boy.
Ooh, okay. I respect it.
I do like the idea of Bubba. We had talked about, right, like the middle of the map kind of being known for having a lot of kind of the filler palettes and the little weaker tiles. So, of course, Bubba's chainsaw does give our killer here the ability to remove a lot of those resources out of the way relatively quickly. We are probably going to see the first one. Oh, no, not going to see the first one thrown here. Actually, we are going to see our Jake, which, by the way, I don't know if y'all noticed, chat, but you can actually see the name of Jake there on the left. All right, so y'all can go ahead and leave me alone. But we're going to work our way around this smaller loop here, and we do only have one charge, but we're going to get the hit through the pallet.
And that is a down there on Pandulce. So first down before the corrupt has dropped. Pretty significant for our killer here.
Yeah, what's really big here too is you're going to see that this hook is going to come inside of the corrupt side of the map. Yeah, you just lost your ruin, which is a little unfortunate. Wait, what did... Oh, right. Yes, the little vines, because those would
Oh
cause
yeah,
a
because you can catch on the
tantrum.
vines weirdly. They're made of adamantium, apparently.
But yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of the risk you run with Ruin as far as bringing in. Sometimes it lasts 45 seconds. Sometimes it does stand up for 4 to 5 minutes. We are going to see, though, now taking the chase on this backside. Really good work as far as by Nia here. Chaos working around here. We're also going to see that bamboozle value here, which is going to work sort of weaken this tile a little bit. Plus 10 wood to the face, though, that is going to allow Nia to build a little bit of distance. That's actually going to cause Glitzmeyer here to break chase, which is a smart move because now you're actually coming over towards Jonah. Now it's going to be another pallet. So this means the 3 pallets that are surrounding this hook right now have all been taken out. You've created a dead zone right by your first hook. This is actually a very, very strong start for Glitzmeyer, especially considering his killer choice.
Yeah, and I think our survivors understand what's at stake here if they come for that unhook. So they are instead going to focus on those generators and push 2 out on top of each other.
Bunch of filthy gen rushers. But
Filthy
we are
gen rushers.
we are gonna see though, and honestly, that's important, right? If you're going to force your survivor to take an extra progression, you need to make sure it pays off. Really, you would like to get a 3rd gen done before this elimination comes across here in about 45 seconds. But you are also going to see, it looks like we've got a couple of survivors coming over here. This is pretty big because Nia has nothing over here to work with. And I think that's actually why we're going to see Nia retreat. And with that being the case, it is very important because also look around. You're going to see a little bit of a 3-gen, you could kind of say, either on the long side of the map or even on this top side of the map because you got the one this corner, the other 2 corner there. But really already done a good job of breaking up the gens too.
They're definitely trying to not put themselves in a bad position. I think they might have learned from last game, but unfortunately, with Bubba having the hook right there, it's kind of hard to avoid that situation until he decides to leave that area.
Now we are going to see taking chase with the Nia. We are going to come up on top of the hill here. We did also locate the Claudette. It is, what are you guys doing? There's 2 of you back here. No one's working on a gen. We are going to see Bubba, though, now working around the T-wall. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make this wall. Very patient running by Claudette. They're not vaulting right into the Bubba like I probably would have because I'm absolutely boosted. And instead actually making extra room here. And we are going to allow a little bit of extra time for maybe someone to sneak in the backside here and get a gen done. But you need to start getting some pressure onto these gens knowing that you only got 2 generators complete for 3, well, basically a hook state, 2 progressions. And now it's a 3v1. When we do come over here, we can hear this generator over here. That thing's knocking like a 4 in the middle of December. Yeah, that thing's ready to go. That is generator number 3. And now we see Jonah showing us that life is indeed life.
Life is indeed life. Yeah, definitely taking that vault and running with it as far as he can away from that danger zone. We do hear a little bit of progress on this generator in here, and we do find another survivor. Oh no, this is still Jonah. Never mind. Ooh,
Yeah,
unfortunate.
that
So
is
close.
Jonah. And I think Jonah was hoping to be able to rotate around that window. Maybe there was not a call out about that bamboozle. Bamboozle actually coming out with very big value here for Glitzmeyer. Keep in mind, over in this corner, we have removed a lot of the resources. And now we are going to have somebody coming in here. Wonder if maybe there might be a breakout play here. We have seen breakout value coming in here recently. We are going to see the hook there. That is hook number 1 onto that survivor. That's actually the only hook on any of the survivors that are currently in play, as the other 3 hooks were all on our survivor that has been removed from the trial.
Yeah, so a lot of pressure here for our survivors to stay on their feet and maybe work on those generators. Although we do see that Bubba here is on the trail.
Yeah, has been able to find Nia, showing a lot of patience too, not pushing his head directly into the pallet space, and instead doing a good job of being able to force the break right away. Now we're going to see Glitzmeyer stepping through the window, now doubling back. That is going to cause the bamboozled, and that is going to be a down over here. We haven't seen anybody around in the corner, so probably safe to assume Yeah, I was gonna say that no one's here for the pallet save because they're probably going in for the unhook across the way. But this is huge because you just had that unhook literally like what 5 seconds ago. Not enough time to get a heal, not enough time to build too much distance. Right now, a lot of pressure has been pushed back onto our survivors by Glitzfire here.
Absolutely, and this is a very dangerous position for our survivors to be in, especially against Bubba, who can like insta down a whole row of survivors if you aren't careful. We will see that fourth generator pop.
Yeah, that fourth generator, it's nice because now you're just one generator away from at least being able to power the doors. The unfortunate news, as you see there, you did kind of put yourself into a little bit closer of a 3 gen than you could have optimally done. However, you do kind of also want to make sure that you guarantee these points. You know, we are seeing that we're taking the chase with the Claudette here. She is the only fully healthy survivor. Oh, that's going to be a tantrum. Run, Claudette. Run as fast as... Oh, though, you got to say, Klitzspire doing a good job of at least kind of controlling that tension to be able to still break the pallet with it.
Yeah, very efficient use of our killer's ability here, removing that obstacle, even though he did have to tantrum off of the rocks there.
And we have now come back over here across the way. We have located the Jonah, and this is the unfortunate portion here because, now Jonah doesn't even have to be downed by the chainsaw. We can just see the mallet to the back as we see there. We are going to see Glitzfire at this point take a quick look around, see if we happen to have any survivors lurking in the shadows. We do see a reset coming there onto Chaos, so we can probably assume they're off in the distance with G-Bot there. So that will be a pickup, and that will be another hook here. That's going to be hook number 2, if I'm not mistaken, onto Jonah here. Now Jonah will be free to be tunneled out as soon as they are unhooked.
Yeah, and while our servers have done a really good job of, oh, that was a really quick unhook. Someone was hiding.
Yeah, that was a very quick unhook, and it's, as you can see there, we had somebody right there working on our generator as well. So right now can get kind of interesting. Glitzfire here, you do want to get that last hook, which is the hook that gets you the most points, as we already talked about. But also keep in mind that both Chaos and G-Bot are fresh hook. Those are a lot of points that could be potentially walking out of your doors, depending on how long it takes you to secure your hook here. Also, it looks like we're going to be using a hook that's rather close to this door as well.
Yeah, this could be a really dangerous position because even if they pop that generator, this door is going to put them in a bad position. Well, actually, it puts our killer in a bad position because Jonah is dead here and this will take away that hook by the door. So if he downs someone, he's not going to be able to hook them by this door and pressure both.
Yeah, now things get interesting because we are going to see now move down to a 2v1. And now it's just you can try and stealth the best that you can, but now the only chance that you really got to finish a gen is whoever pulls aggro next has to be able to maintain a long of enough chase for the other one to complete the gen. We're going to see Glitzfire here. Now moving to the bottom side of the map. Now taking a chase with, this is G-Bot here. Now actually moving towards the shack. You do have a couple of pallets over here. So if you're Claudette, you can actually prolong this chase at least a little bit. But it's going to be very important that you be very, very cautious because you can be one shot down with the chainsaw itself. You are... I was one sure if you're going to make that. Oh.
Yeah, that was scary. I didn't know if G1 was going to make it through that window at first, but he does manage to make it with Guildspire pulling back so it doesn't tantrum off that window frame, knowing that he wasn't going to get that hit. And that is our 5th generator done for our survivors here.
And this is going to get spicy here because now we do have G-Bot coming back across the way here. And if Chaos happens to be the survivor with the wake up and happens to be by a door, we could be talking about 2 fresh hook survivors walking out the front door. Do keep in mind, we did have a 2K last round as well, so you would have done a pretty good job of matching the performance of last round, but when we talk about 2 fresh hook survivors, that could be pretty big. We are going to see our survivor leave here. Oh my gosh. Yo, go towards the shack! The shack!
Ah! Oh no! And we do see our first escape here. Chaos getting out that door, and Chaos actually had 1 hook on him, but that is still enough for our condition of getting that extra point there.
So you do get your extra point as far as there. Now you also have your 1v1 basically going around. Ooh, that little bit caught up around the
Oh, that's
corner there.
unfortunate there.
Hello?
Oh, but G-Man able to spin that chainsaw for just a little bit, not quite long enough. Gilspire will still get that down on our poor Claudette here.
And I can't help but wonder. I wish we had like a floating camera. I would love to be able to like see a location on the hatch, because I just like I want to know. I have this gut feeling that it's close to Shack, and I think Chaos might have been able to make a hatch at Shack sort of play there, which would have been pretty huge.
I do think it was actually the Chaos or G-Man.
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah, I think if G-Bot had been able to make it down to that bottom area of the map, I do agree with you. Hatch probably did spawn closer to Shack. So that might have been a 2-out for We Overslept here, but unfortunately, G-Bot got caught right at the tail end of that chase there, right at the finish line. Just a little bit of a trip, unfortunately.
Now we're talking about coming out and you secure yourself some more hooks there than we had seen from the previous round. Some more, or I'm sorry, I got the same amount of hooks, right? One less progression.
We actually had more hooks in this game than last game. Last game we had a 2-out, and this game we had a 1-out.
Oh, right. The one, man, I am tripping. I am.
It's all right. That's what I'm here for.
But I tell you what, Chad. So yeah, now we have seen though, you've been able to come out. You build a little bit of a lead on the one side, and then now you've come out and on your killer, you've been, or sorry, you minimize, and then now on your killer, you're able to put up more points. It's kind of.
Yeah, getting those extra points going into match 2 is going to be really, really important for setting the pace for the second half of our game here. We now have 2 games down, 2 games left. So this is where it's going to start getting really important as far as what our players all do here strategy-wise.
That says 32 to what? That's a very small number. My eyes are old.
I believe that is 32. The colors are a little strange here. That score is going to be 32 to 27.
Okay, so you built up your lead a little bit more. You're looking at a 5-point lead now.
Sample Text was able to actually overcome that 3-point deficit and take a 5-point lead in that second game there with Guildspire's Bubba.
Yeah, so you did a really good job of fighting back, and well, I mean, that's kind of like the benefit, though, I would say, of Survivor minimizing the point gap, right? Because you can get more points on the killer side. So if you can do like they did, what was it, like a 3-point difference in trial 1, and then they went out and had the performance they had, which allowed them to obviously be in the lead that they're in right now. So we might have had some people who came in late and saw that we're on the Yamaoka realm and might be curious about the map that we're actually on. So let's talk about it a little bit here.
Let's talk about our map. Again, you guys, we are on Family Residence, one of the Yamaoka Estate maps. An unusual map for comp. It has an 8-hook minimum and a 12-hook maximum. For one of our larger maps, it's interesting to see that there's only a 12-hook max. Usually we get a 13-hook max on our bigger maps. So can put our killers in a really weird situation if they aren't careful with those hook states, considering that this is a larger map.
Yeah, and we had seen there too, you'd mentioned it having the less hook count both on the min and max side does mean that sometimes you have to be very wary about what hooks you use for your sacrifice hooks. We didn't see it come into play at the door, but we did see it to have the potential of being a play at the door with removing one of those hooks very early, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, again, like we were saying, you have to be careful of those hooks. So he got rid of that hook in his 3-gen really early.
Yeah, I mean, at least the benefit, even though you got rid of the back hook, again, you removed a lot of the resources from that area as well. So the good news is, even though you had to start using basically the next hook up, still most of the resources in the area were kind of empty. So it made it where the there wasn't much to play around. I think that kind of helped you there as far as obviously acquiring more hook state.
Yeah, definitely allowed our killer to ensure that there weren't any of those nasty, nasty pallets to get stunned with, to make it easier for him to use his chainsaw efficiently and get those downs.
So now here, you're talking about having yourself a good little lead. You can build on that lead with the back-to-back killer sets and set yourself up where maybe all you need is some generators done, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe since we do still have 3/4 of the season left, maybe you take a risk here since you have a little bit of a lead. Go with a killer that isn't quite as strong and still put your killer where you have to get like 2 out. What's your thought?
I think it depends on how our teams see each other and how important they think this game is to their season. Um, do they think that this is a game that is important to win? Is this a team they think they can beat easily? Then I think they will take a lower tier killer in and save those S tiers for later in the season in games that they might consider a little harder for them. But it really comes down to how do these teams view each other as opponents in this matchup?
And I think what's going to be fun is I have heard that as we move a little deeper into the season, we're going to be looking at getting some power rankings and things too. So not only are we going to be able to see how the teams see each other, but we can just see how they stack up against one another and even add some extra conversation in the mix just between you and I, knowing where they sit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how all those stats kind of play out. Um, and what that means for the rest of our season too, especially because this is going to be information accessible by all of the teams. They're all going to be able to see this, or hear about it at the very least. So I think that's going to change how teams start seeing each other as we progress into the season and maybe start influencing some of the decision making that's been had. Also, it looks like everybody is ready for you to move on over.
So who do you think we see here while we're waiting to see if our offering?
I think we see a higher tier killer because again, 5 points is not a very large lead. I think we're gonna see a safe play, maybe not an S tier, but definitely something safer. For our killer to be playing, considering the score is so close, and that we're gonna have another killer match after this for We Overslept.
I'm calling Freddy.
Oh, Freddy would be a good one here.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. All right, while we load, go into this lobby here, let's kind of talk about some of the ban rules that we have here in Vigos.
All right, you guys. So we do have some things that are just not allowed. Our bans, builds, and other restrictions are yellow items and add-ons are all that is allowed. You can only have one of each perk and item, except for PT. You can have two of those because we want you to save your friends if you can. But don't forget, altars and kills. There are some banned perks as well. You cannot bring Built to Last, Prove Thyself, or Starstruck. Also, no Haunted Ground, no Lethal Pursuer, and no Boons or Clairvoyance. We're not going to make it that easy on you. Come on. Killers used are limited to twice a season. So that's why we're talking about S tiers being really important. You cannot use your Spirit more than twice. You cannot use your Nurse more than twice. You can only have one character per team. Violations are going to be subject to penalties. If you want to know more about our banned perks and items or more on rules, go ahead and check out !rules in chat.
Yeah, I'm thinking here again because you have a little bit of a lead. I think Freddy gives you some things that still allow you to counter some of the things that this map throws at you as far as a killer, with it being a little bit bigger, having a lot of the smaller filler pallets in the middle. I just think I feel like looking at it, Freddy's base kit gives you a lot to look at, but it does look like we are ready to go into the actual match itself here. And it does look like we're going to see a killer that neither of us even brought up once. We're going to see Pyramid Head. I really like this pick here.
I am always, always happy to see a Pyramid Head come out.
Now we are going to see Glitzspire does get the advantage of a rather friendly, I would say, corrupt, just in the sense that it's not split. It does cover the entirety of the top side of the map here by main building. We are going to see a very nice shot onto Gmod there with the M2. That double range add-on there that we do see from Glitzspire does seem to be very, very common amongst the competitive scene. And I like it because it gives you more options when we're trying to work through double walls and working around jungle gyms and stuff. We did see that when Glitzspire pushed Claudette off of the one generator, we did have sparks. However, some of y'all might have also heard that noise. That was the ruin actually being cleansed very, very fast. Now with about 45 seconds left on that corrupt intervention, then we will be down to just 2 mystery perks. So Glitzspire definitely going to want to get some downs and start collecting them very fast.
Absolutely, and we do see our survivors stepping through that trail of torment there, and putting themselves in a bad position because now they can be caged, which will negate all unhooking perks.
Yeah, but I like this choice here, right? Because Chaos is currently afflicted. And if you can go ahead and put them on a hook and maybe save that status for number 2, let's say if they get unhooked and you put them onto the ground quickly, and you don't have to worry about a decisive strike by putting them right into a cage. Now we are going to see here, we can now talk about that pop goes the weasel that will be applied onto that middle gen. So even though Glitzspire does not have the protection from a ruin, still has the ability to earn 25% regression with each hook that they happen to acquire here. But now the big thing is going to be, keep in mind, we had talked about the ability to put survivors into those cages here on Pyramid Head, right? That means now if you put them into a cage, you also lose your ability to get that 25% regression.
Yeah, definitely a double-edged sword for our killer to consider here.
Was that a pun intended because of the big sword?
Well, yes. Don't expose me. But definitely going to have to make a choice here with what's going to be the most beneficial to him. I just think that the caging offers, I've always thought caging was a really interesting mechanic. So it offers him a lot of options and a really nice M2 there.
Oh, Gbot stepping back into it for the second shot of the M2. That's really big here because that is going to be a second hook, a second fresh hook, and it's a fresh hook with another survivor who is now affected by your torment status as well. So Glitzspire building up some of the additional pressure that you can build off of a Pyramid Head because of what's in your kit, and you've already got some extra power or some extra pressure coming out here.
Absolutely. And that is going to be 2 fresh hooks with only 1 generator done. So a really bad position for our survivors to be in here.
Now, one thing worth mentioning is, at least for the survivors, you've been able to spread your hooks a little bit, so at least you don't have anybody that's quite ready to be tunneled out here. But you need to be very, very patient with your next couple of chases. You need to make sure that you're spending as much time as possible. We do see the save coming across onto Gbot across the map here. And Glitzspire is going to be taking chase with our injured Jake over here. Jake, I do believe, would be the 3rd fresh hook, if I am not mistaken, which would be nice.
Would not be.
Which would be nice here because that is going to be another, again, you're starting to build those hook states. Keep in mind, however, this is not front loaded points, so you aren't getting the big points there, but you are getting closer to those very valuable points being the elimination hook.
Yeah, denying, putting those survivors closer to not being able to get those extra hooks, extra points for the escape is going to be really good for our killer here. Glitzspire going ahead and applying that pop to a gen that really wasn't that far progressed, in my opinion.
No,
not
but
important
it is
to kick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely a good gen to kind of maintain because you can kind of combine it with multiple gens to still have a decent 3 gen, say a mid to late portion of the game. Plus also that way you still feel like you get your pop value in case you happen to run into a survivor, like say, I don't know, a Claudette, before you can check any of your other generators here. Now we are going to see a nice shot here going through the walls. We also see a broken status on our survivor. We're going to keep an eye on that here because that might be a renewal, which would allow him to get that health state back, maybe getting onto those generators quicker. Or it could be the deliverance play here. So we're going to stay tuned. Nice body block, I would say, nice coming in there. Block. But that's going to be a double shot by Glitzspire. Oh my goodness gracious.
And that will be another generator popping, although G-Man is going to go right back on that hook. A nice attempt by Maelstrom to body block, but unfortunately not taking into account the range on that M2 there.
Yeah, now with both of them taking the hit there, that's pretty big because you wanted to take the body block to prevent the M1, obviously, but now you not only change your health state, but there's still a down on the ground as well. Luckily, or I shouldn't say luckily, but the good news is you have finished 3 gens, so you're doing a very good job of matching Glitzspire's output so far. There's generator number 4 actually in a swing and a miss at the window on Chaos there. And also worth mentioning when we look at our survivor's job with the generator spread, we have got 1 generator on the top, 1 on the bottom, and 1 in the middle. Very good spread here.
Yeah, definitely did their best to avoid that 3-gen situation, and we are going to see the heals coming in on our unhooked survivors.
And I like this play because that probably means we're going to see maybe a last second attempt at maybe a save here just so you can have 4 people in play longer. Or you're going to see them do that knowing that now that they can at least split their pressure amongst the 2, that is going to be a progression as well. At least you're taking away that additional point that your last hook gets you as a killer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely going to starve our survivors of some hooks here. That progression, however, will remove a point from our killer's potential to earn
Oh
here.
my goodness.
Oh, a beautiful prediction shot on Maelstrom here through that wall to get the down. And actually, Maelstrom is our last fresh hook survivor.
That was really nice shot. We are going to see the 5th hook coming in across the way, and the bad news for Maelstrom is you are about as far away as you can get from the 2 doors here, and Glitzmeyer can keep an eye on one of the doors as well. So more than likely what we are going to see is Chaos and Jake, once they realize the situation, just go for the far door, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dulce and Chaos there are in a position where they only have 1 hook each. They can get those additional points for escaping, and giving Guildspire here the progressions instead of full points for another hook state might just be in their best interest. But I have seen this team do some pretty risky stuff before to great success, so I think it really depends on how brave they're feeling. We do see that door pop open over there.
Yeah, with that door popping, we're probably gonna see the 2 survivors going. Glitzspire doing, or Guildspire doing the right thing though, coming over with the M2 in the ground just in case there is a deliverance play. There is going to be the sacrifice though, so 2 more progressions. Still worth noting though, 8 hooks altogether, hook stages, however you want to mention it, for a pinhead. Definitely nothing to write home about, or nothing to be bashful about. Really good performance for Pyramid Head here.
Absolutely, and that match was actually like only 1 point off in point difference. So it might have been worth it for our survivors to go ahead and get Maelstrom, but at the same time, they could have put themselves in a really bad position if things went terribly for them.
Yeah, I think the big thing there, right, is if you mentioned it, you minimize the point gap of trial number 3 by 1 point, which means you don't allow your deficit to grow by more than by any more than 1 point. And now what we're talking about, a 6-point difference. What would that be, like a? I mean, I think you still need at least 3K.
I believe so. I mean, you really just want to deny the really deny generators getting done here.
Yeah, I think this would be a good, I mean, honestly, this would be a really good game if you have someone who's like a strong pinhead, I feel like. Because you're adding the extra pressure mid game, because you mentioned it, right? Like you're gonna really want to try and make the time between the start of the trial and the 5th gen popping be as long as possible.
Mm-hmm. And one thing we have seen in all of our matches up until this point, if you can, whoever sets the pace of the game is probably going to win it. So really bringing out a killer who you can kind of like stall things out with, take your time and be very comfortable in that position, is probably going to be a smart move for We Overslept here.
Do we see We Overslept maybe? Do we see them bring out an S tier here? Swing for the fence. Maybe go with something like, I don't know, a Nurse or a Blight to like secure yourself a W here?
I mean, I think it's possible. If We Overslept really wants to win this game, which it would probably be good, I think it would be their first win of the season. I would consider looking into maybe some of those higher tier killers here, because it is such a close game. So I can see them kind of bringing in a higher tier killer to kind of swing for the fences there, like you said, and secure a win for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely feel good for We Overslept to be able to put a point on the board. I mean, obviously they're in a very tough division, being in the division with both Arctic Wolves and the Mice, who are both undefeated. So I think putting up a point on the board would be good, especially taking home one. I just feel like, again, I feel like here, if you can use an S tier to build your momentum for like the moving into the, I guess you can say, the main stretch, I feel like gets you plenty of work, right?
Absolutely. Excuse me. Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see what our killer decides to bring out here, knowing what's at stake, kind of.
Now, granted, sample text does have one of sample text is one of the two games that has a makeup game, and I think they're doing that this week.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, sample text has for the games they've played, I think
they played Entity and Monarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, the makeup game they still have left is 6, which is going to be tough.
That's going to be a tough game. I think they have 1 win, 1 loss, the makeup, and then this game so far. Because they did inherit the team that they replaced. They inherited their track record.
Now, at least the good news for you, if you're sample text, since we are going to be looking at getting all the McMillan map back up and running, they are going to be going to Coal Tower.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Coal Tower, at least as far as for a home map, puts you in a good spot because it's a smaller map, right? Like so you can have a lot of killers shine there. The worry is moving into the later rounds of the map, Coal Tower is a map that the S tier killers can do very good on. I almost wonder if maybe they're going to see a lot of S tier killers for that reason.
That could be the case that we see. Knowing that Coal Tower is a fairly balanced map, it could be a good map to bring out those S tier killers instead, knowing that we are going back to them. Especially depending on rankings going into that point of our teams.
So it's gonna be interesting here. I'm excited. You know, this is what I love about when you get when you're getting ready for a matchup of competitive DBD, and when you get through, whether it's 2 sets, 3 sets, 5 sets, whatever it is, and you're going into literally the last trial, and it's still anybody's ball game. Can't ask for anything better.
Absolutely. I love that. And this is a trend we have seen consistently throughout our league so far. A lot of really close, tight games where there's not a lot of wiggle room with points in either direction, really. And I love that our teams have really been putting their best foot forward and bringing us really exciting matches.
All right. So before our survivors start readying up here, who you riding with?
Who am I riding with? Which team am I?
Who's taking it home here? Is it We Overslept with the comeback in the killer game here? Or is it sample tech?
I'm torn because I love both of these teams, but I think in this case I'm gonna be rooting for We Overslept here. I think they can take this, and I would be really excited to see them get a win here. So I'm gonna put my hat in with We Overslept.
You're going with We Overslept?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. I want, knowing that we have six undefeated teams so far, and knowing that that means that the margin for error is very, very small, and knowing that Sample Text only has one loss thus far in the season, meaning that they're going to need every win to stay in contention right now for playoffs. I think for that reason, Sample Text understands the situation and they walk out the door with the people that they need to get the points here, and Sample Text walks home with the win here.
So a split in the judging booth, but I guess we will find out very shortly which way this match goes. But again, huge shout out to both of these teams for keeping it such an engaging and interesting game.
Do I have a mod
And
asking where the polls are at? Vader, make the poll yourself, dog.
Oh yeah, Vader, you're a mod. And it does look like everyone is getting ready, so we can slide on over into that spectator spot and head into our fourth trial.
I'm excited here. Let me let them know all as well. As I do see, we have Night Wolf. There we go. Now got them ready here. And we're going to make sure that we have 4 bloodied blueprints as well as a cut coin. In our last round, heading into the trial, you had talked about kind of as far as like the perk setups and, you know, what's banned and what's not banned. But this time we're going to talk about what happened if some of those rules happen to be broken. Because contrary to popular beliefs, rules were not meant to be broken.
Yeah, as much as we might like to, you bad killers out there, please don't break our rules because there are penalties for that. So what happens? They can be played out. Matchup penalties can be played out, restarted, or both, depending on the severity of the penalty. Excuse me. Penalties include 2 of the same survivor, banned perks, items, or add-ons that is a negative 5 point and a possible restart. Again, depending on the severity of the situation. However, the wrong map is a negative 5 points and an auto restart. Please don't harass the refs. Please don't bring players not on your roster because that is negative 10 points per offense and no restart. Using an exhausted killer is also negative 10 points, but an auto restart and delaying the game is negative 1 point for every minute past the first 5 minutes. For more on rules, please check !rules in chat.
All right.
And I think we hear it.
Yep, we had talked about it. The chance to come out and bring out the big guns and try and bring home win number 1. Gbot coming out with the nurse here. We are going to see that corrupt intervention. It is a very, very common perk that we do see, of course, in the competitive scene. Very rarely do you want to see the survivors have access to all 7 generators right off the bat. But, you know, do keep in mind, We Overslept needs to have a pretty strong performance here. Down by 6. You are on the killer side. The killer side does have the potential of yielding more points. You are able to find yourself some scratch marks here over here on the top side of the map. However, you're not able to locate an actual survivor itself. Would not be surprised, honestly, to see our survivors kind of do the very immersed gameplay here and wait out corrupt.
Yeah, definitely playing it more safe than sorry with this game, knowing what's at stake here for our survivors and our killer.
And I think it's smart, right? Because especially the longer you go, I mean, we see here you brought in corrupt intervention, and it had been almost, what, 80 seconds until you even located somebody for a chase. Ooh, and that's going to be a double blink and a miss. This is not good. Gbot, I know you feel like you have a little bit of a pressure here, homie, but don't want to be swinging when you shouldn't be. That's going to cause yourself some extra fatigue here as well. Fang doing a very good job of breaking line of sight here, which is what you want to do against a nurse. About 15 seconds left on that corrupt intervention here. Gbot now probably should be taking a look around these other generators here as well, especially since we do still have a ruin in your favor as we do push what is that, Night Wolf coming off that generator. We do see those sparks there, and that's going to be a very quick down on the Night Wolf. Very good decision to break chase.
Yeah, very smart of our killer there to use Ruin to its fullest potential and go check out what's going on, especially with how adeptly Fang was able to break line of sight and avoid getting hit by him.
Yeah, especially knowing you're going to be going to the portion of the map that, like, where, yeah, you had people covered, but you hadn't seen anybody back there. So you were at least able to get your down. And you did see there, even though Ruin had been broken, that gen regressed very, very quickly with that kick. That's because of that pop goes the Weasel. G-Bot here will now be able to earn that 25% regression with every hook. However, with seeing the survivor running away from that generator, I think a very easy decision for G-Bot to come back over here. We do, however, get here before the unhook. Not going to be able to get the hit there.
An unfortunate short blink there for our killer as he continues to chase our freshly unhooked survivor, but that will give time for him to wait up our time.
Yeah, so now you don't have to worry about the borrowed time. Still could be worrying about a potential decisive strike. Can't help but wonder, because it's been so long in the trial before seeing that first generator pop, that probably means that our survivors, for sample text here, are probably splitting that pressure amongst the multiple gens. There is going to be down number 2 on the Night Wolf here. The question is, do you have the D strike? The answer is no. That is going to be hook number 2, meaning that Night Wolf is now one state closer to being tunneled out of the game. However, it has cost G-Bot 2 generators here. So really, you would like to build a little bit more pressure on somebody other than Night Wolf right now to make sure you're getting closer to your win condition.
Absolutely. And we do see that point gap is closing a little bit, but I don't think it's closing as fast as Gbot will need it to, because as we've seen this point in the game, with all 4 survivors still in the game, gens still have the potential to fly really quickly.
Yeah, we see a very confident Blink, though, finding the Megan coming in for the unhook. That should be a down on a Megan. This should be a very, very easy decision by G-Bot to go ahead and go for the slug, knowing that you would now need 2 people coming across the way. That is going to be actually a very nice blind, I would say, from the Firecracker. However, with the double back, because of the unfortunate position with the room there, not going to be able to build the distance. Now going to see the Blink coming in. Really good job by Fang to come in and take that hit to prolong this chase at least a little bit. The bad news is Gmai has been able to maintain the tracking. That is going to be a swing and a miss. However, done a very good job of continuing to zone out our Kate here. Keeping in mind the Kate is just 1 health state away from being out of this game. That is a little bit of a premature swing. It happens to the best of us. However, you want to make sure you're being very patient, because that's a down.
And that is going to be a down. Even though we do see Meg get picked up across the map, this is going to be our survivor team. 1 survivor down. And as we all know at this point, the game changes when you only have 3 survivors left.
Yeah, and that little mid portion of the game there, even though it didn't seem like there was a lot getting done, thanks to the slug as well as the additional hit as well, basically all that they were able to get done was a 4th generator, right? Because you had to get the person off the ground, you had to get the reset. You are going to see the hit onto Candy Cane here. G-Bot still needing to build some pressure here, so the quick down onto Fang definitely going to be important. But our survivor squad here for sample text, if you look around, has done a very good job of separating those generators with the spread here, and G-Bot has a very wide field to protect right now.
Yeah, it's going to start getting really, really sticky for our killer here. He's going to have to be very, very efficient and very brutal with how he plays over the course of this next generator getting completed.
And now here it does look like you have been able to locate another survivor. That is going to be the Megan. You do have 2 survivors here that are both hurt. And it is a good and a bad news at the same time, because we are going to see 2 successive blinks and very confident blinks onto the Megan. Megan is going to go up onto a hook, and now you also have another hook state here. That's going to be hook state number 5. This is the first hook state onto Flawless. Keep in mind, Flawless was the survivor who had spent some time on the ground earlier, and that is going to be, it looks like more than likely, a deliverance coming in along with the 5th generator complete. right now, Sample Tech's doing what they need to do in order to wrap up the win they were looking for, especially against an S tier survivor. Oh, or an S tier survivor. Oh, mega lol chat. An S tier killer like the nurse, and you are
Ooh,
going to see a Noed blink there onto Barson. That's a down. You do see some lights here, not far enough. You would be able to get some extra blink here. Oh,
unfortunate for our nurse here to not quite get all the way across to land that hit on an injured Meg.
yeah, now do keep in mind we did see the Noed cleanse, but of course, as you see on the right side of your screen, we do have 2 survivors here. Well, now 3 survivors since you did get the pickup. All 3 of them are injured, meaning that the cleansing of Noed was really kind of a moot point at this point here. But no progress probably on these doors, and they're relatively close for Gbot. Your best bet right now for Sample Text is to probably retreat and get yourself a little bit of a reset instead. We do see, I think that was Candy Cane. I believe that was the thing here. But you also have a reset coming into Barson as well.
Yeah, definitely a tricky position to be in. If Barson was the last fresh hook for G-Man to get here, so it might have been a wise move to grab them and put them on the hook. Unfortunately, it was a little bit of a tricky situation being so close to a door.
Oh, no. And that's tough. It actually looks like the survivor that you located over here is your fully healthy survivor. You have survivors opening they're opening the door that's farthest away. You're probably going to be blinking onto Claudette here, and then she's still going to be able to take one more hit and get out the door. That's 3 of them walking out.
Yep, that does look like,
Wow.
unless not everyone is here, that is going to be a 3 out for our survivors, with one making it out of that door with no hooks.
That's insane. That's a really good job by Sample Text. We talked, we overslept, brought out the S tier killer to try and bring it home, and instead Sample Text coming out and getting what I would say is a very critical win for them right now. Again, knowing that they do still have one more makeup game, but they've only acquired 1 loss thus far, and we've got 6 teams that are undefeated, so they want to make sure that they aren't taking any unnecessary losses. So a really good job by them to come out here and secure the dub today.
Absolutely. Very good gameplay on both sides, but those survivors really came out and were like, you know what? We know what our win condition is, and we're going to stick to it. I think they played very, very safely and very cleanly there to ensure that they kept their win. They secured their win.
And I like it because I feel like I don't want to say that they were dominant in their performance today, because I think we overslept had a very good performance. But I can't help but feel that like Sample Text was just very much in control from the word go, right?
Absolutely. I can agree with you there. It did kind of feel like everything was really calculated. Even though they went into that second game at a point deficit, they very quickly regained the ground they had lost and kind of kept a hold on it that entire time.
And now things get interesting. Again, knowing that, we had mentioned the margin for error, at least at the top of the brackets, is very, very small right now. Knowing that the makeup game for you for Sample Text is with 6, and let me double check here real quick. I do believe that 6 is one of our other undefeated teams. Let me find that.
I do believe they are right now.
So that does mean by securing the dub here, and then maybe being able to get yourself a dub against 6, you actually technically kind of move yourself up in the brackets a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to be really huge. Going into, again, coming out of the first quarter of our season, that's going to be a really good place for Sample Text to be sitting in.
Oh, I guess I'm wrong. It wouldn't really affect your bracket so much since they are in different conferences. But, I mean, you're still putting yourself in a good position just as far as overall record, honestly.
Yeah, definitely still a good position to be in, especially if they want to make it to the playoffs. But again, this kind of paints a target on their back as a team to watch out for. So here we are, double-edged sword. But we do have someone coming in for an interview if we want to ask Sample Text their opinion on that matter.
Well, let's do it then.
We will have Candy Cane joining us today. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good, thank you for asking.
Gotta be feeling good after the closed up today, right?
Yeah, it feels great. We went out there, we had a lot of fun. It was great.
Yeah, you guys played really well. You're both on both Survivor and your Killer side. We've seen with a lot of other teams, usually they lean kind of heavily in favor of one or the other. But you guys gave us very consistent performances on both sides, so really good job on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're just a casual team. We like to go out there, we like to have fun. Yeah, we did well all around. GG's to the other team. We overslept.
Now, with this, hopefully, potentially, I'm hoping so, being the last time on Family Residence for the regular season, is there any sort, do you feel like the game plan changes like huge for your team knowing that your home is going from Family Residence to Cold Tower?
Definitely, there's a huge difference between those maps. Family Residence is a massive map, and it's really hard, and I was not looking forward to like a whole month on that map. So yeah, it's gonna be good going to Cold Tower.
Yeah, Cold Tower is definitely a much more balanced map, also not quite as large as Family Residence, so definitely a little more just overall balanced for everyone.
I know my killers are really excited about getting Cold Tower, so
I can imagine it's going to be a much bigger improvement than having to play on. I don't think anyone likes Family Residence, honestly.
no, I don't think I know anyone who likes it.
So, do you have anything to say to the fans of Sample Text, everyone who came out to support you guys, or the fans of Egos?
Thank you guys all so much. We love you, and honestly, none of us could do this without you guys. You guys really do make Vigos what it is. So, thank you.
I love it. I got a one last question before you guys get out of here.
Okay.
Actually, so looking ahead on the schedule and knowing that at the top, the margin for error is going to probably be rather small because there's quite a few teams that are undefeated. Y'all only have one loss so far. Is there a particular matchup coming up in the next couple of weeks that you guys like really kind of feel like is like marked on your schedule?
I know personally for me, I'm excited. We're gonna go against Monarchy again, and they're a really, really strong team. And yeah, I'm excited to go against them and see if we can improve against them again.
Yeah, I like that one too, especially because that one could be, I mean, later in the season, that'll be week 10. I mean, we're talking about potentially being some effect on the division there. That could be really fun.
Yeah, it will be really fun, and we're really, starting to get close with Monarchy. We know a lot of people on Monarchy. We've been scrimming with Monarchy, so
It's nice to see that, like, all of our teams, even though this is like a competition, we're all facing each other, that we're still building a community together and building these really good relationships with one another. So that's really nice to hear that you guys, even though you are going to be facing each other, that you guys are still building really good relationships and that you are looking forward to your matches against one another.
yes, definitely.
All right, anything else from you, Q, for today?
No, you know what? I very much enjoyed the games today. Kind of like Shep was saying, it's nice to see you guys came out really balanced and just very consistent on both sides. So we appreciate you guys coming out, and honestly, I look forward to see the rest of your schedule because I think you guys are, even though maybe not on a lot of people's radar, I think you guys are going to be a player come towards the end of the season. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, we're definitely excited. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do for Vigos as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here today. It was really great to hear from you, and we look forward to what the rest of the season holds for you.
All right. Well, I know that's going to wrap things up as far as obviously this matchup here today. But this is just the start of week 4 for Vigo, right?
Absolutely. This is just the first game of our weekend. So make sure you guys come on back to us tomorrow where we will be watching several games. And as well as on Saturday, we have a lot of really good matchups coming up. So make sure that you guys not only are following us here, but that you follow our social media so that you can see when those games will be coming up.
Yep. So we're going to have games tomorrow at both 6 and 9. And then we'll have games on Saturday at 1, 3, 6, and 9. And instead of like trying to remember those times, just make sure you have that notification bell turned on. You know what I mean? Turn those follows and you're going to be good to go. But otherwise, I think that just about wrap things. Well, you have that you have that thing you have to do.
I have a thing I have to do?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because
What did I
I'm not the
forget?
judge. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm worst judge ever. Sorry, guys. We have reached a conviction, and it looks like Sample Text has been convicted of murder.
All right, chat. And don't forget, if we can't catch y'all, don't forget we're going to be here tomorrow and Saturday, y'all. And till next time, with everything crazy going on in the world today, man, for real, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. That's Shep. I'm Q. Have a good one, y'all.
Be safe, guys. Bye.